I definitely think that's a good pick. I'm going to go with Bryce Young, which I think is a bit risky because quarterback is one of the most hardest positions to translate from college to the NFL, and it's very difficult. But I think, other than the height, Bryce Young is, in my opinion, the closest thing to a sure thing we'll see from a quarterback prospect. He is really just so intelligent, so accurate. Great playmaker. We saw that at Alabama, despite not having the weapons that you're expecting from an Alabama team. So I think he's completely ready for the NFL. And I think Carolina are going to win this division, the NFC South, a weak division, but I think Carolina are a team that are built well in the trenches, a team that they kind of added a few weapons. They might not be as bad in that department as people think, and I think Bryce Young is going to be that guy that from day one, even as a rookie, is going to elevate them. And I think if Carolina win the division and go into the playoffs, Bryce Young will win Rookie of the Year. So I have him as my offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Bryce Young's a tough one for me because I feel like I actually don't agree. I think he's going to struggle in his first year, and again, I wouldn't be somewhat. Again, I don't think it'll be like a struggles his first year, give up. I think he's going to obviously most of the good quarterbacks get drafted first overall. You're going to a team that's not very good.
Carolina did trade up though, so it's not.
Yeah,
as
no,
bad
but
a situation.
I think Carolina traded up. I think I would argue. Yeah, I was gonna say I would argue they're worse than the Bears, even though they traded up. But the Bears are very bad. That's a tough argument. Yeah, again, you lose DJ Moore. To me, it's the weapons. Obviously, you don't have McCaffrey anymore. You lose DJ Moore. I think you're looking. You got to get a good season out of Terrace Marshall, and besides that,
you got Thielen. They did draft Jonathan Mingo in the draft.
Mingo was a guy who rose quickly. Thielen, I didn't love. I thought the contract was way too big for a guy who was not very good. Or not like the Thielen we know the past 2 seasons.
Laviska Shenault's also
Laviska Shenault.
So.
Shi Smith.
Yeah, there are some
like
players
okay weapons.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's not like terrible enough. Like they don't have NFL receiver levels. They just don't.
Yeah,
have,
I just think for Bryce Young,
receiver one.
It's going to be like a Trevor Lawrence. Like Trevor Lawrence was obviously very poor his first season. We saw him last year, fantastic. They go out get him weapons. Again, I agree. Christian Kirk and some of those other guys weren't the ideal weapons we thought, or the weapons that are like those Calvin Ridleys who they now have, or going getting DeAndre Hopkins. But to me, for Bryce Young, I love seeing the young quarterbacks having those receivers that you know are good, the established receivers. Like we don't know if Mingo's good. Terrace Marshall obviously has not made a name for himself. So again, that's what I worry about. And I guess you could say it's a casual take, but Bryce Young for me, not having those super tall, really good physical build.
I'd say Marshall kind of fits that physical build.
No, I'm saying Bryce Young himself doesn't have that
Bryce
physical
Young,
build. So it's not like not that he can't fend for himself, but if he takes more hits, if he has a smaller build where he's a little more fragile.
I think the offensive line will do a good job of protecting him, and more importantly, I would say a huge difference between Trevor Lawrence's situation as a rookie and Bryce Young's situation is that Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer as head coach, and then Bryce Young's going in with Frank Reich, which is even though he did get fired from the Colts, he's still a great offensive mind, especially for a young quarterback. I think he's gonna. Again, I don't think he's gonna be amazing, but I think if he leads his team to the playoffs first year as a rookie, which I think so, especially in a division that isn't that strong. I think Atlanta are a solid team, but I just don't think it's that great of a division. So I think Carolina will win it. I think if they win the division, I think Bryce Young wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think where I agree with Keen on this one is I think Bryce Young will look really good. The eye test, he'll pass the eye test in this first season because we know what Bryce Young can do. Everyone knows it. I worry the numbers just aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
The numbers are going to be really hard to come by. I think this is going to be, even without Christian McCaffrey, a very heavy ground and pound attack because you have a rookie quarterback who's unproven and you have not great receiving core. You don't have a wide receiver 1. Adam Thielen is an aging wide receiver 2 at best.
Yeah.
I think this could be a very down season number. I could see Bryce Young not even breaking 3,000 yards this year. I can see it happening.
It's tough.
If he's healthy, I think he does.
I don't doubt the health. I just think that he might only throw the ball 18 times a game.
Yeah.
20 times a game.
I think down the stretch you'll see him throw the ball more. I think
as they start getting more confidence in him, we will. But I think the first few weeks of the season, it could be 15 throws, 20 throws, just because this is not a very good offense.
Yeah, I agree. But I think this is actually where I agree with Serge. I think when you look at Bryce Young's player profile, he's a guy who, like, just because it's Bryce Young, like, he has the gunsling, he can place the ball anywhere. Like, for Mac Jones, for example, when he's going to his rookie year, it's like, okay, maybe he doesn't go 3,000 because Mac Jones isn't like he was, I guess, kind of a older style quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think Bryce Young, just the gunslinger ability in him will give him those 3,000. I think he would get 3,000 yards on most NFL teams.
I think the Panthers are one exception to that.
And I agree. I think that's a good point. I think, again, it's tough for me because I feel like there are obviously some receivers. Like Jonathan Mingo might be great. Terrace Marshall was really good coming out of college. He might be great.
Laviska Shenault,
really good, weapon. Gadget weapon. The offensive line, you have a really good tackling. Ikem Ekwonu, who will hopefully be able to protect his bride side. Yeah, Brady Christian was really good. They have 2 younger tackles. So I think if you look at, I think that was a great point. I think he'll pass the eye test. But yeah, I agree. I think the numbers might not be there, but
yeah, I don't think he'll throw a lot of touchdowns. I think this is going to be an offense mainly based around trickery.
Yeah.
I think with a guy like Laviska Shenault in your offense, they're going to be using him. I mean, he's probably the most talented player in that offense. I mean, I'm not looking at Bryce Young.
Mingo. I do like Mingo.
But I'm looking at someone like Mingo, and I'm looking at someone like Shenault, and I'm thinking there are going to be a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of designed wide receiver runs, screen passes, which may count for his passing yards.
A lot of RPOs, we'll see.
Lots of RPOs, and I think Bryce Young, the stats just won't look pretty.
Though, I feel like with his play style as a playmaker in those RPO systems, I think he will, even with it could be a situation like with the Giants where we know they don't have great receivers, but because of Frank Reich.
But that's where I think that Bryce Young will easily pass the eye test, but the numbers won't look pretty, and that diminishes his chances of winning.
I don't think he'll be like that bad. No. I think he'll be a very.
I think we're both saying the same thing.
I don't think he's throwing 4,000. I don't think that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could.
I just think it'll be an underwhelming number 1 overall pick season. I think he'll throw right around 3,000 yards, maybe scratch 20 touchdowns. I mean, maybe. I'm thinking he could have a season where he throws 1 touchdown per game and 1 interception per game. Like, I just think that could be something that happens.
Yeah, but I think we're both saying that. I think you're both saying the same thing. It's just Surge is a little more.
I agree. Just more optimistic about the Panthers offense. And
I think at the end of the day, neither me and Charlie obviously are not saying that this guy is going to be a bust, but I do think that it might be a little bit of a learning curve in his first season, which every NFL quarterback has.
No,